Hey, what's up guys? My name is Brayley Chambers. I've been at Bolt Movers for quite a while, done quite a few 24-hour moves. Great to have you here. Today we're going to show you a few things about how to pack a house Bolt Movers style. All right guys, really important. At every single house, as soon as we show up, we're going to take one of these floor runners and put it inside the entrance. We do this so that we don't track in all of our mess from our shoes into the house. Also, it helps protect the hardwood floors. Before we do that though, we always want to shake it out so that all the stuff from the previous move does not get into the new house. So Samson. All right guys, one of the things we want to do is we want to make sure that we get a good, solid, fluffy foundation on the bottom. So we're going to get about 4 to 6 of these pieces of paper and just make a bottom for the plates. All right guys, right here with this plate, what we're going to do is we're going to put 2 pieces of paper around each and every plate. We're going to put these in not horizontally but vertically in here to make sure these stay extra safe. We've got 2 pieces of paper around every single one of these plates. We want to get them here snug. We don't want to force anything. We don't want to break anybody's china. And now to finish this off, we want to put some fluffy paper up here at the top to make it extra safe. All right, so as you can see, we got our tape here. Try and get it right in the middle. We want it on both sides. Only one if we can, but if a heavier box, we can put 2 or 3 pieces of tape on there as well. This is really important, by the way, is having a Sharpie. We mark everything, because in case you didn't know, we're not just putting stuff in the truck, we're also taking stuff out of the truck and putting it in other people's homes. Right? So it's very important you say where this came from. So I'm going to say kitchen, and also because here at Bolt Movers we hold each other accountable and you break everything in a box, we are going to know who did it. So I'm going to put my name on here so everybody knows whose work this is. My name is Brayley. Got to put that down. Where it's going, where it's from, who packed it. Now we're packing glasses. Basically the same thing as plates. We're going to do 5 or 6 pieces of paper just balled up at the bottom. And here, that's how you pack a glass. We're going to get 2 pieces of paper per glass. And this is a good amount of paper for an ordinary glass. However, if we're packing like wine glasses, we probably want 3 or 4 instead of just 2. All right? Just got them up like that. It's nice and tight. Just put it right there. All right guys, I'm going to show you how to pack a big bowl. For these, it's kind of like the wine glasses. We're going to use about 2 or 3 pieces of paper on every single one of these big ones, because these are pretty fragile pieces a lot of times, and they can be pretty expensive. You do not want that coming out of your paycheck. After we put this in here, we're going to put 1 or 2 pieces extra paper between each and every one of these. Hey guys, something else really important. Make sure that you put like things together in these boxes. So for example, here we got buttermilk biscuit bits. Puts it in there, right? That naturally goes with peanut butter and pasta and taco shells, right? All these things are food, they go together. What we don't want is people coming in here with Zicam and putting Zicam in here with peanut butter, right? Because then people are gonna have no idea where everything goes. So just put like things together. We want to be organized. Try and organize the boxes as best as we can. Got something else? If you see that a food item is open already, one of the things we want to do is just wrap it up with plastic tape. We've had quite a few moves where people don't wrap things up, especially like, rice and beans, and we get to the location and there's stuff everywhere in the box. All right guys, this is really important. This stuff under the sink, all these cleaners and all this kind of stuff, is going to go in its own box. We don't want to mix Lysol with bread, for example, right? We want to put all of this, the trash bags, Lysol, the granite and stone cleaner and polish. We want all of this to go in its own bag. Also, this is also really important. We at Bolt Movers cannot pack anything that is flammable. So if you see something flammable, kindly say to the customer, hey, we're really sorry, but we can't take care of this for you. Hey guys, this also is really important. Don't just dump stuff in here. Try and put this in as neatly as possible. Remember, we're getting paid for this. Hey guys, when it comes to silverware, we want to make sure that we wrap it up not only in plastic, but also in paper. So we want the paper on there first, and then after we have it with paper, we want to wrap it with plastic. We want to make sure that none of the knives or the forks or the spoons start spilling out everywhere in the box. Hey y'all, here at Bolt Movers, we care a whole lot about shoes because we know people care a lot about their own shoes, right? So something we do is we wrap all shoes individually. All right, let's do this quickly. Do this. We're gonna place them in the bottom of these closet boxes. All right, guys, in the same box that we put the shoes in, we're also gonna be putting the shirts in at the top, right? And so, as soon as you're done getting a few feet up in the air with all the shoes, just start hanging the shirts in there, and also, just as in the kitchen, make sure that you're writing your names on these boxes too, so that we know who packed everything. Hey guys, when it comes to packing a TV, what we want to do is first we want to get 3 or 4 blankets down and put them on the ground. And then we want to get the TV and lay it face down on the blankets, and then wrap the TV with the blankets, and then we want to get the plastic wrap and wrap the blankets onto the TV so they stay there secure. All right guys, one of the things really important is when you're wrapping these frames, we don't need to wrap the frames, right? Because the back of these, especially when we put them next to each other, the back of this can really mess up the front of a picture when we're putting these side by side. So one of the things you want to do is put it on top of some paper, get 2 pieces of paper, and just wrap it up. All right, guys, that's another thing. When it comes to the bathroom drawers, we don't want to just throw stuff in the box. Instead, something we want to do is just, get the stuff out of the box. We want to wrap all this stuff in plastic. Make sure that it stays pretty organized. Make sure that, all of people's personal belongings aren't just going crazy in the truck. All right, guys, this is not every bed, but this is the typical bed right here. If you've never taken apart a bed, this is simply how you do it. Do that, and that part slides out, right? Then you come down here, the same side, same sort of thing happens. Also, I said this yesterday, but it's really important that when we have these 2 runners right here, we don't want the finished side rubbing up against the finished side on the truck. So what we're going to do is that one right there, we're going to put this side on the other inside piece. We don't want finished wood on finished wood. All right, guys, the last thing that we want to deal with late at night when we're putting all this stuff together, when we're putting the bed together, is not having enough screws and bolts on this kind of stuff. So we have these little handy bolt bags that as soon as you get done disassembling the bed, put all the screws and the bolts in these things, and then you're going to wrap it to the footboard. If the headboard does have fabric on it, we want to put plastic wrap on there before the blankets, and that's because we don't want any of our dirty blankets getting dirty smudges on the fabric. So just go ahead and protect the headboard by putting plastic on there before you put any sort of blanket. All right, guys, it's really important that the blankets go inside the box. Now you might be thinking this is completely common sense. Sadly, we've been on quite a few moves where people have thought it would be a good idea to put $600 sheets around things like this to protect stuff like this and have broken $700 sheets. All right, guys, wrapping this mattress. This part of the mattress, we want it to be wrapped, but we're not as concerned about it as we are as this stuff up here. We want to make sure that this and this down here is wrapped really heavily. The reason for this is because this is going to be standing just like this in the truck. We're going to put this in front of the boxes, and so one of these two sides is going to be on the floor. We don't want those floors to rip up these mattresses. These mattresses are, as you probably know, can be really expensive. We don't want this coming out of our paycheck. Just take care of the mattress. Hey guys, really important, when you're packing these lamps, just know that we want these cords to be wrapped around the base. Also, these shades are way more expensive than you possibly think, right? Most of these, $25 minimum, $125 usually max. You don't want that coming out of your paycheck. Always take these off and put them in the box separately. Whenever you are packing boxes with shades in there, always write fragile on the top. We don't want those boxes on the bottom of the truck because that will crush the shade. Hey guys, when you get to tables like this, these rustic tables, you might be thinking, hey, I don't need to blanket this, it's already got scratches. Just know we want people to add their own scratches to this kind of stuff. We don't want to add those scratches for them. So yeah, always just blanket stuff like this. If in doubt, blanket. That's a good rule of thumb. All right guys, we want to make sure that we wrap all finished wood on this job. Right? So if you don't wrap finished wood, you will likely be finished at Bolt Movers sooner rather than later. Right? So this is finished wood, the back of this is unfinished. Right? So me and Prim are going to show you how to do this. See, I got it all the way down to the bottom here, and even on the side, since this is finished as well. Want this around here, and that's really what we care about. See, this is back, this doesn't have to be covered. That would take us forever protecting stuff that doesn't really need to be protected. Hey guys, letting you know, whenever we're dealing with nicer materials like this, especially fabric, we want to make sure that we cover this fabric in plastic. We wouldn't do this for stuff like leather, but we want to make sure that dust doesn't seep into this kind of thing, so we're going to cover it in plastic. Prim? Hey guys, we're about to have to take this big couch all the way downstairs. We're gonna have to go through a couple of doors. So one of the things we wanna do when we have to go through a bunch of doors with a big couch like this is we're gonna take off all these pillows individually and wrap them individually in plastic wrap. Just that way they don't get damaged, and also we don't have cushions falling out everywhere while we're going down the stairs. That's not fun for anybody. Guys, like I said, at Bolt Movers, we are all about speed, doing things as fast as we can, as well as we can. Watch Prim wrap this couch. Hey guys, for rugs like this, let's just go and make it easy for ourselves, and let's roll the rug pad in with the rug. There's no point in making it complicated for ourselves and separating them. Just keep them together, and then we're gonna wrap the rug completely with plastic wrap, particularly on the top and the bottom. We're gonna make sure we get the plastic wrap on those areas. Guys, in case you can't tell, this is a light colored couch, right? And when you're moving all day, your hands are gonna get dirty, and we do not want to get handprints and thumbprints or blood all over this couch, right? That's the last thing you want. So what we're gonna do before any sort of light couch like this, we're gonna wash our hands. Hey guys, you might think that wrapping books is kind of pointless. However, a lot of people, let's be honest, use books less for education and more so for aesthetics. So people don't want to get scratches all over their books in their living room, right? So a couple books like this, these books were the foundation for some photos in the living room. We do want to make sure we take good care of these. Wrap them up and put them in the box. Hey guys, let's use some common sense here. This is a tank full of propane. Do you think it is or is not okay for us to take this? The answer to that is absolutely not. Kindly tell the customer we are not allowed to transport anything flammable. So this Blue Rhino, staying behind. All right, guys, a little bit less clear than the propane tank. Any sort of power tool like this that has gasoline, if we're going across state lines, and only if we're going across state lines, do you want to empty this thing of its gas. So empty the gas out if you're going across state. However, if it's a 5-minute move down the road, just leave it in there, throw it in the truck. Be careful though. Anything flammable, the last thing we need is a Penske truck going up in flames and killing tons of people on the interstate. Whenever we are taking gasoline out of power tools, just ask the client what they would want us to do with the gasoline. It's not on us, it's on them. Ask them, hey, where do you want us to put the gas? Hey guys, whenever we have an excess of wardrobe boxes, a great use for these things is putting stuff like golf clubs or lawn chairs in these wardrobe boxes, because you're not going to find anything else quite tall enough to put these things in. All right, guys, we're going to take care of this washing machine, right? This really cannot be overstated, the importance of making sure the water is off. There's been so many times where people unplug washing machines forgetting to turn the water off, and this entire area is just flooded, right? So we don't want to do that. So instead, most of these things will have a on or off button on this. You probably can't really see it, but it says off, turn this way. So we're just going to turn both of these to the side here. And also, always carry around a bucket of some kind with you, right? Something that's like not super fancy at all. And when we unscrew the back of these, there's going to still be some water in those pipes. So you're just going to want to make sure you put this underneath those pipes so you catch any sort of excess water. We're about to take care of this. I'll show you how to do that a little bit more clearly. When it comes to unhooking the washing machine, you're going to need a pair of needle nose pliers. And like I said, you're also going to want a bucket, because most of the time when you unscrew these two things right here, water starts coming out. We don't want water all over the hardwood floor. That's not good for anybody. So I'm going to unscrew this. Just watch me do this. Guys, as you just saw, we do unhook these things from people's houses. However, we do not hook them back up. So when we go over to another house, we're going to kindly say, sorry ma'am, sorry sir, we can't hook this up for you. But yeah, we're glad to unhook them for people. Guys, as you just saw, remove the dryer vent. Easy way to transport this, make sure we know where this is, just throw it in the dryer after you unhook it. As you just saw me do, make sure that you don't throw a dirty one of these back in the dryer. We don't want to make people's dryers disgusting. So just shake it out right there, throw it in the dryer. Anytime we are moving a front load washer and dryer, make sure you grab the transit bolts before you do a long move. If you don't know what a transit bolt is, ask the client. Hey guys, if you're anything like me, as opposed to Prim here, you've got girly little fingers that don't help you a lot when you're moving giant pieces of furniture like this. So, what you might find helpful is this thing right here. We call it a 4-arm forklift, right? All you do is this. You slide it through here. Make sure right here that there's no sort of expensive, fragile trim. Want to make sure that it's attached to something sturdy. Loop it through and grab it. Now, as opposed to having to grab this with your fingers and get your hands all bloody, put your forearms through here, Prim, you in?
I'm in.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Hey guys, hardwood floors are insanely expensive, just in case you didn't know. And sometimes we're gonna get in a situation where we have to slide things. Like for instance, a few years ago, me and a couple of guys we had a safe that weighed over 1,000 pounds. If we were to try and scoot that thing across the floor, we would have all had a few $1,000s coming out of our paycheck. So what we do is look at the floor, just gotta load up a bunch of these blankets, right? We got about 8 to 12 blankets on here right now. Yeah, 8 to 12 layers, excuse me, 8 to 12 layers. And really, in this sort of scenario, all you wanna do is just put it on top of the blankets and just push it across the floor. Because if you have that many blankets, there's no way it's gonna leave any marks on there. Like I said, all the weight is just on this leg right here. So we want a lot of blankets covering the distance between this and the hardwood. So we got 1, we got 2, we got 3, we got 4, we got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. When it comes to packing boxes in the truck, this is an example of what we're looking for. Right? Ideally, this is what we always have. Each box completely on top of another. That way, you don't have the side of this coming down here and crushing this box. However, sadly, a lot of times we do get irregularly shaped boxes, and so you end up with stuff like this. We don't want this. Occasionally this kind of stuff happens. That's what we're looking for. However, if this stuff ever happens, make sure that we don't want these shifting everywhere during the move. What we're going to do here is just grab a couple of blankets. Grab some stuff like this. We're just going to place it in here. Try and prevent, I'll grab one more. Prevent as much shifting as we possibly can. When it comes to ratchet strapping these boxes, watch this really closely. Okay, so you want it as flush up against this thing as possible because you don't want this sliding. We're just going to go across, excuse me. Right here. Once again, all the way up to the wood. Now, you're gonna crank this. You don't want to crank this so tight that you're gonna like break this. You want it to be firm, but not too firm. It's like the Goldilocks zone with the straps, you know? All right, guys, check out how we did this. Mattresses go in front of the boxes. We do that just because, it just makes a wall so that those boxes are locked in. They're not going to go anywhere on the entire ride there. Also, notice what we did here. In case you can't tell, these are wood floors. Sometimes they get splinters and that kind of stuff. The last thing we want is little tiny shards of wood going into a few $1,000 Tempur-Pedic mattress. All right, so just put a couple blankets down. Just be extra careful. Put the mattress on top of the blankets. Let's get this move. All right, guys, you already saw us do the boxes. Now we got the mattress here. Just check out how we did this. We put the headboard and the runners on the sides, and then we're going to put the box spring right up here. In a minute, we're going to put another mattress right here. Basically, we're just trying to build a wall to support all of these boxes in the back. And remember also, this mattress right here, we want this to be as straight as possible. We don't want all of this stuff to be, leaning over. It's like that and putting all kinds of pressure on the stuff back there. There's no point in doing that. Just keep it straight. Make sure that everything is, not having more pressure than it has to have on it. All right, guys, another point on strapping. This end right here is always the end that goes on this side of the furniture. To make this more clear, you do not want to put this side on this side, right? You always want this to be closest to the door because when we go over there to unpack this, this is the side that unattaches this entire thing. If this side is over there, basically we're going to have to be climbing over furniture in order to undo all this furniture. Right, so make sure you get this side over here. Also, this hook. You want this as close to the piece as possible. You don't want this out here, right? You want it right here, just about flush. Whoops. Flush with the piece. Now when you come over here. Yeah. Pull it tight. Once again, you don't want to wrap this. You don't want to keep on doing this because you might break the piece. As soon as you think it's secure, stop cranking. All right, guys, when it comes to these bigger pieces of furniture like this, especially if it's something sturdy, we can put furniture on top of each other. Obviously, you can't see this because it's wrapped up, but this piece right here, this side is the finished side. This is the unfinished side. So we're gonna flip this over so that the unfinished side is the one that we'll be running against the wall right here. Also, really important, as you can tell, this is the top of a piece. We never put feet of a piece on top of another piece. The reason for this is sometimes feet have nails in it, all kinds of stuff like that. And if the feet are on top of a finished piece of wood like this, a lot of time there'll be huge dents that we've had to repair all kinds of stuff because people have put feet on tops of finished wood. So just don't do that. Only the top of pieces on top of other pieces. All right, guys, another point here. We always want blankets in between the wall and these soft surfaces right here. We don't want this to be rubbing against here the entire time it's in the truck. So watch us as we put both of these couches upright and put some blankets between the couches and the wall. All right, guys, so we're gonna put this piece right here in the middle of the truck. We call this a floater piece here at Bold Movers. Just because it's in the middle, it's kind of floating in the middle of the truck. Always, you might think that, hey, this is already blanketed. You don't need to put another blanket on it. I mean, look at those 2 feet right there. Oftentimes you have those feet, those will jack up the bottom of pieces like this, especially on long road trips. What we want to do is we want to blanket every part of this. We don't want anything getting messed up. So top to bottom, we want this piece to be covered. All right. You gonna pick it up with me over here? Oh boy. All right, guys, just know that whenever you get to the front door of a house on a move, always introduce yourself, try and shake their hand if you can, and look them in the eye, just like very basic personal skills type stuff. Also, if you're leading the job, introduce the people you're working with. And really a big part of this is, I know that you're doing this job to try and make money, you're trying to get tips. One of the best ways to get tips is just try and make people feel comfortable in their own homes, try and develop a rapport with them. And so throughout the day, you want them to feel comfortable, you want them to know you, and a lot of that really does just begin as soon as you get to the house. Hey, my name is Braley.
Hi.
This is Prim.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Ready to move?
I'm Ashley, yeah.
Right.
Nice to meet you. Come on in. So this is our space.
All right. Beautiful house here.
Thank you. So there's just a couple of things in here that won't be going to our new house.
TV, Mommy.
You want to turn on the TV?
Yeah.
All right. So the couch and the chair will be going to my mother-in-law's house. We got a new couch and chair for our new space. And then that's going to go into a storage unit for a little bit. So we're not really sure where we're going to put it. So it's all one big piece. So we'll take everything off and wrap it.
Okay. This piece is going to storage unit?
Yeah. Because we don't know where we're going to put it in our new home yet.
Okay, we'll keep that in mind.
Okay.
All right.
And then everything else you can just wrap and put in boxes.
All right, put it in the truck.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to show you guys a couple things outside that we'll take with us to our new house.
All right, sweet.
So this furniture out here, we're just gonna give it to my mother-in-law, so they'll actually come and pick it up. So just leave it here.
Okay.
So my mother-in-law will come and pick it all up.
Sweet.
And then out here we have a green egg. So it's in a table right now, so it's pretty heavy. You just pick it up off the table, and then I don't know if you guys wrap it.
We do wrap those, yeah. So
Okay.
we will wrap that.
Okay, perfect. And then there's just some little pots and stuff down there. You can just put those in a box.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
What about this?
This will go to our new house, and we can just put it on the patio.
Okay. You listening, man? Huh? You listening?
Oh, this
This
table?
is going,
Yeah.
and that's going.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
ma'am.
After that, we'll go to our new house. Ping pong table, pretty much everything in this entire basement, including what's on the walls, which these we'll probably just throw away because I don't even know if they're.
You sure?
I don't know if you can stick them again.
Okay.
We'll just have to take them off and see. The fat head that's on the wall, we'll peel it off and see if we can take that with us too, but it may not be able to come with us. So all of these balloons over here, this is kind of just my little side hustle. put in boxes and take those with us too.
Okay, sounds good.
They'll be a little bit more organized with color, and then you can just put them in boxes, and we can just write on each box like what colors in each box.
All right.
Can you do that?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. So those balloons obviously won't go. They're for a client next week, so they won't even be in the basement. Okay? And then there's a couple things in here. So we have a shuffleboard table, and it came in a couple pieces.
All right.
So you'll just have to, I think the legs come off. We had a guy put it together. The legs come off, and then this big wooden board comes off. So if you could somehow nicely, I don't know if you would wrap the board that's on top.
We would wrap everything. We'd double wrap it.
Okay, because I wouldn't want that to get scratched.
Okay. We'll make sure it doesn't.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
perfect. And then everything in here goes to, so yeah. I don't know, are you guys gonna wrap that, do you wrap the table?
Yeah, we wrap just about
You
everything.
everything.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, if you want, I can show you upstairs too. My husband has like a shoe collection we could put in like boxes, I guess.
Yes,
Okay, or
ma'am.
Tupperware. Okay. Awesome. Here's like a complete mess. We need to clean up. We're just trying to like organize shoes, get things ready. So my husband has a bunch of shoes, so if we could just make sure that each pair's together and then wrap them and put them in boxes together, or we could maybe do totes.
That's what we always do. We always wrap each shoe individually,
Oh,
saran wrap, and then we put each one in a box together in a big shoe box, basically.
Oh,
so yeah,
wow.
we'll make sure that there's no scratches on them or anything like that.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So there's a bunch in here, and then there's a bunch in the closet
Okay.
in there too. So they're just all on shelves. So I mean, you would just walk in there and then individually wrap each one.
Gotcha.
Okay. Perfect. Thanks, guys.
All right, guys. One of the things we want to do at Bolt Movers is be so helpful that we want to err on the side of annoying. All right. So whenever we're moving stuff into the house, and if somebody says, if one of the clients says, "Hey, let me take that from you," say like, "No. Like, I want to do this. I'm getting paid. Let me hustle. Let me do it." And so you always want to deny them the first time if they try and take something from you. However, if they insist and they do say, "Hey, no, for real, I want to take this from you," let them have it. But always try and do the hustle and make sure they know you're working extra hard. Hey, it's been awesome working with you. Is there anything we can do, like rearrange this rug or anything like that, just to make you happy?
I think that would be great. Is there any way that you could put the rug underneath the bed for me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. We can do that. Anything else?
Yeah, so I know you guys already moved the washer and dryer up here,
Yeah.
but after I was thinking about it, I was like, it would be so much better on the main floor. We have another laundry area that has a
Okay.
bunch of cabinets and it's got a lot more room. So like here, they're just stacked and I don't know, like is there any way that you can move it downstairs?
Yeah, Prim can move those downstairs for sure.
Prim, you think you can do that? Yeah. All right.
Report it. When you get to the house, I know it's first thing in the morning, you're not really totally woken up yet, but you need to be paying attention a lot to what the people say about the stuff in the house. So if they say that stuff's going to a storage unit, make a mental mark of that, maybe even write a note in your phone, like say this is going to a storage unit. Because the last thing we want is taking stuff to the wrong place. We've had moves where, one thing's supposed to go to one house, but instead of putting it in the house, we put it in the back of the storage unit, and it adds 5 hours to our day. So just make sure that you're always paying attention to where stuff goes. It'll make your life a whole lot easier. We're really sorry about this, but when Prim was moving both of the washer and the dryer, he somehow hit that all the way up there and he scuffed up the wall. But don't worry, we'll get a painter in this week and we'll make sure that we get that taken care
That's
of.
crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that happened. It was all the way up there. But also,
I mean, he must have been carrying it like above his head.
Right.
That's crazy. You got some strength.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
is there anything else we can do? Like, do you want us to center this a little bit more, and do you want us to rearrange any of the furniture?
Yeah,
in
so
here?
I was curious if you can move that big chair over there with these two blue chairs and you can just like move them to the opposite side of the room.
Yeah, absolutely. We can do
Yeah. And then the end tables too, like move them also.
that. Okay. Yeah.
I think that would be great. And then we could just center the couch and the table with that back there, and that would look great.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Is that everything?
Yeah, but also like I don't know why that piece came because to my new house it was supposed to go in a storage unit. So do you? Okay. Do you think you guys could still take it to my storage unit?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
No problem.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. I know it's really heavy. We've already put all the decorations on it, but is there any way that we could?
Oh yeah, we can take care of it. We'll take
Okay.
care of it all.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice working with you guys.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Nice to meet
Thank
you.
you. It's awesome. Thanks.
All right, guys, as you saw at the end of that move, we went through at the very end and just double checked with a client and asked, do you want us to rearrange anything? Do you want us to straighten anything up? Do you want us to, move something from one room to another move? It might seem like overkill, but I think that always does mean a whole lot to the client. And this is also really important to do at the very end of a move that has gone way over time. There's been a few times at 2 a.m. where clients who have just been difficult all day tell us, hey, we know that we wanted this downstairs originally, but now we want you to move it. And at 2 a.m. you just want to get home and you don't want to deal with that at all. However, oftentimes when you do that and you have a good attitude about it and you do it with energy, that's the stuff that really does get you tips, because it's very clear to the client that, man, this moving team, even though it's really late, they really care about me and they really do want to make me happy. And so always put the work in, especially at times when people don't think you will. Here's my tip for getting tips. Like I said, my name is Braley, and one time I got three $100 tips in 3 straight moves. The reason this happens, the way this happens, is primarily just being friendly with customers, not breaking anything, being careful, but most importantly is speed, right? Because the faster you do a job, the less money you have to charge the client. And so the less money you have to charge the client, the more money they are willing to give you. And so always just be hustling, and you'll make a lot more money for the time you spend here. But also, don't let your hustle turn into recklessness. Be fast, but be careful, and make a lot of money. Hey guys, when we're done with the move, we don't want to leave the truck looking like a mess for the next team. So a bunch of little things, such as right here with the runner, always roll this up. You don't want this falling all over the place, right? Hey guys, we'll always strap up these blankets to the wall. We don't want these blankets falling all over the place. So one of the first things we do, we run this from the very bottom all the way around to the top. You'll see how to do this more clearly on your first day here. But always know we want this to be here. We don't want this to be right here, right? If you are doing this right here, if you're doing the ratchet right here, you're probably gonna make a big cut and ruin these blankets. Also, we don't want this up here. We want it as low as we can so it's as secure as possible to the wall. Like I said, we don't want the bottom of this thing kicking out, and we also don't want these blankets falling out onto the floor. Guys, a lot of newbies at Bolt Movers are kind of confused by how to work the ratchet strap. Believe it or not, it's actually incredibly simple. I'm not trying to be crude here, but there's a really easy way to remember how to do this. Look at this, it's like Pac-Man, right? It's eating, right? You want to put this thing right here in Pac-Man's butt. And then after you do that, simply bring it back through his mouth and out through the butt again. That way, when we do this, it's going to hold. Guys, like I said, we do not want to leave the truck just a complete mess for the next team who's going to use it. So just look at this closely. Look at these ratchets. Look at how beautiful. Man, have you ever seen anything quite this beautiful? They're all hung up. The last thing we want is walking into the truck at 7 a.m. and you got ratchets all over the floor. Don't do that. Don't do that to the next guy. Be a decent human being. All right? See how neatly all of this is stacked up. All right? Just observe this. Make a quick mental image of all of this in your head. This needs to be strapped in as well. Just leave the truck organized. Leave it looking exactly like this for the next team. All right, guys, really important rule here at Bolt Movers. Never text and drive. Also, never make any calls while you're driving. If you do have to make a call, make sure it's hands-free. So you can make a call, put it on your thigh and have it on speaker or something like that. But we never want to be driving and on our phones. And also, this is something that you don't want any money coming out of your own pocket. There was actually a guy we had in Florida who got caught by the cops on the phone when he was driving. It was a $500 fine. And so, nobody wants that. make sure you're off the phone, never get on it. Be safe for yourself and other people. All right, guys, when it comes to the tires on the truck, this is something that you really need to know. So the tires at the front of the truck, it's pretty obvious to know whether or not those tires are or are not inflated. However, when it comes to these tires back here, because there's obviously two of them, if one of them is inflated and the other is not, the other tire will still look inflated even if it's not actually inflated. So something you want to do in the morning when you come up to the truck, just kind of give it a kick. You know, these things are pretty stiff, and so, you know, if they're stiff, obviously they're inflated. But, you know, you want to make sure that you're not kicking it and just like losing your foot into the tire, because obviously if that happens, we're going to get into some trouble on the road. Just make sure the tire's inflated. Yeah, when you want to start observing the tire, just make sure that the entire thing is filled out. You know, if the bottom is flat at all, obviously you got a deflated tire. Just make sure the tires are inflated and just really observe that. Make sure that they're basically equal on height and size. All right, yeah, just make sure the distance from this part to this part is the same as from this part to this part. Some of the most important advice I have to give you is to know your clearance. So, right here, the clearance on this is 12 feet and 7 inches. If that's the case, do you think that this truck can make it under a bridge that is 12 feet high? It cannot. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, like, this is stupid. Obviously, you know, everybody knows that. Sadly, we've actually had a lot of people try to turn these trucks into convertibles and just like go under bridges and that kind of stuff and just completely rip the top off. And not only does that destroy our trucks, that also destroys people's furniture. And so just be extra careful. Do everything possible to make sure that you never take a top off a truck, because that will be a few $1,000s out of your pay. Now, hopefully not, but possibly, let's just say hypothetically, you get to the point where you do take this truck up to a bridge and you realize that you are about to take the top off of this thing if you go forward. Now, what you should not do is continue driving. And the reason I have to bring this up is because there's been people who have driven these things through bridges before and said, like, well, I already was so far and there's 40 cars behind me on this one-way street, and therefore I had to drive it underneath the bridge and take the top off. Don't do that. Don't do that. Even if you cause a huge traffic jam, put the car in park, back everybody up, and it's far better for you to spend 2 hours trying to turn this truck around on a one-way street in downtown Chicago than it is for you to actually take the top off. So just never do that. Never do that, however embarrassing it may be. All right, guys, another basic thing that's very important is just adjusting your mirrors. When you get to the truck in the morning, make sure that you sit in the cockpit and you adjust this big mirror, and the big mirror basically just gives you a broader range of everything around you. Make sure you have that. It's very important for backing up. And this smaller mirror is just a little bit more of a zoom in on this side of the truck right here. And make sure you adjust both sides of the mirrors. All right, guys, sometimes when you come in here and you're sitting in the truck, you'll start hearing beeping noises and you'll start to wonder, like, what in the world's going on? Almost always when we get a call about a truck beeping, it's one of three things. Number one, it's that the air hasn't been able to increase enough. So like when you turn this thing on, a lot of the time it needs a second, the air needs to build up. And it'll usually take like a minute or two. Usually if you just let it go, the beeping will stop. Another thing it could be is just if you don't really shut the door very strong, but it's like this, sometimes it'll make a beeping noise. Just actually close it strong and the beeping will almost always go away. Another thing is always pull this air brake when you're in park, because if you don't, it'll start just annoying you and it will not stop beeping. So just pull the air brake if that's it. It's almost always one of those three things. All right, anytime we ever have this truck in reverse, anytime you ever are planning to back up into somebody's driveway or something like that, not only do you need to be watching your mirrors, you also want to have your partner behind the truck, probably about 3 or 4 feet to the side and about 8 feet behind, because honestly, like, these trucks just have huge blind spots. And so you just want to make sure that whoever you're working with that day is watching where you can't watch. And so have them back there, have them guiding you back and making sure that everything's going well, because we don't want to hit a mailbox. We don't want to, hit anybody's car or anything like that. All right, here are the standard Bolt Movers navigation hand signals. It's very complicated. For one, this means come back. This means go left. This means go right. And also, what we always do is, you know, if we're backing up somewhere and we're getting like relatively close to hitting a car or a house or something like that, just start like this, and the closer they get, you tell the person you've got about this much room, this much room, this much room, this much room. Stop right here. Something really important is always remember that if you can't see the mirrors, the person in the driver's seat cannot see you. All right, so always want to be right here whenever you're backing up, especially at night. So you know, this right here is a light. It's going to light up when we're backing the truck up when it's dark outside. You know, make sure you are in such a place that the mirror, that the person can see you through the mirror because of the light right here. Also, another thing is this ramp comes out a few feet. And so whenever you're backing up the truck, remember, you don't want to back up the truck right to wherever you're going to be loading and unloading stuff. Instead, you want the truck to be about 8 feet or so away, because that ramp is going to come out and it's going to be, you know, obviously, the ramp is going to be where the truck actually ends. All right, guys, let's just hypothetically, you know, imagine right here for a minute. This is somebody's front yard, and we're trying to back up this truck into their driveway. There is basically never any sort of excuse to get one of these trucks, the tires of one of these trucks, into the grass here. You know, like I said, one of the big reasons I know you're doing this is you want to make money and you want to make tips. You're probably not going to make a tip if you leave giant tire marks in the person's front yard and rip up their sprinkler system. That's happened a lot before. It's super expensive. It makes them mad. It makes us mad. You know, just kind of avoid that. Avoid the grass. And you know, we're trying to make people happy. Keep the tires on the road. Now, hypothetically, let's say that for some crazy reason you do need to drive the truck through the grass. For one, only do such a thing if the customer tells you to do so. You know, you never want to ask for forgiveness and not permission here. No, you want to ask for permission first. You never want to drive on the grass unless they tell you to. And if you're going to do it, make sure you do not do it until they text a Bolt Movers line and say, or call the Bolt Movers line and say, these people have permission to drive in our grass. Because if you don't do that, that puts us in a lot of legal problems that can, you know, we are at that point possibly gonna have to pay for a new sprinkler system, new sod, all that kind of stuff. So make sure that they text the Bolt Movers line so that the liability is not on us. And also, your paycheck will be deducted. All right, guys, something that's really important is whenever you're taking a turn, or whenever you're on one side of the road and there's a ditch on your side of the road, just know that if one tire of yours gets into the ditch, the entire truck's gonna end up in the ditch. So just make sure that you steer clear of all of that kind of stuff. And you know, even if it kind of looks like the road is kind of snug, feel free to take up 2 lanes. Guys, one of the very most important things to know when you're driving these trucks is that if you take a right, it's going to swing out to the left. If you take a left, it's going to swing out to the right. So what you want to do is you don't want to take super tight turns. You want to take wide turns. So a really good example of this is this turn we're about to take up here. And as we get closer and closer to this, you can see that there's a very steep turn right here. And so instead of, you know, taking a really tight turn, we're going to swing it wide right here. Because if we don't do that, the back right tires might fall into that ditch, and the entire truck is going to be in the ditch. Whenever you're taking a left turn in one of these trucks, just know that the backside does kick out. So you want to always be looking at your mirror to make sure that right side isn't going to smash the car beside you. So we do not want that. Obviously, you don't want to hit trees, but also there's another important point, kind of like with the bridges earlier. It will be much better for you to hold up a few people and make them a few minutes late to work and not hit one of these trees than hit one of these trees and go fast. So, like, you know, hypothetically, if there were a bunch of people coming this way, or if there were a bunch of people behind you or something like that, you know, it's better if you just slow down and just go down through this road right in the middle in order to avoid any limbs. Just want to avoid limbs at all costs. All right. Another thing to keep in mind is a lot of time when you're driving in these apartment complexes, parking garages, is the ceiling in these garages will go up or will go down depending on what level you're on. So just always know, like always check and see the clearance for the apartment garages.